That's crazy. Okay. All right, we're pushing there. Looks good. All right, everybody, thank you. Just a reminder. Oh, shoot. That didn't.
All mics are hot mics.
All mics are hot mics. Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 615 for January 14th, 2026. And how's it going, everybody? I am Josh, KI6NAZ, and man, we got a super chat right in the beginning of the show, so thank you so much for that from Daniel Curry. Appreciate you. Let's make sure we're coming in live because I'm not seeing where's all of our activity from our people in the chat. Are you there, chat? Can you tell us? Hey, there we go. Okay, good. All right, well, we got a packed show. I came running in the door from work, so let's get things going. Let's say hi to the glorious team here. Starting out at the top of the pyramid, Gordo, how you doing?
All is well here in Southern California, and we're getting ready for the desert, or dessert.
Yes. Gonna stay warm out there, I hope. Don, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Josh. Had a good weekend. I'm having 2 weekends off in a row, which is kind of neat because I had scheduled this coming weekend off for the Hammet Ham Fest in Hammond, Louisiana. So if anybody's going to be around South Louisiana, come see me at the Hammet Ham Fest. I'll be walking around. My son Tyler, N7TMW, coming because it's his birthday weekend. And then we're going to leave there, and we're going to go to the local airport and play with jets.
Ooh, they're just going to let you play with them just out in the open like that?
Well, I know the owner of the I know the owner of the jet center there, so I've known him forever. So, yeah, we're just going to go and hang out and look at jets and things. So that's our weekend coming up.
All right.
Yeah, me too.
Amanda, how you
doing? We got Dr. T. We got Dr. T too, by the way. I want to let you know we got a report from Dr. T in Newsline.
All right.
Yay!
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Amanda?
Fantastic. So our year started, as I told everyone on New Year's, we're going to be radioactive here in Colorado, and I did not lie. So we're at it with the Colorado 150, America 250. We're celebrating Year of the Club. I've already got a lot of the Colorado clubs here energized to get on the air and start competing with each other. And some of the things we're going on with is like endorsements for Worked All States, an endorsement for a VE session, an endorsement for an open house for your public, an endorsement for doing a POTA. So it's like a 50% on the air and 50% kind of in-person activities. So all clubs are going to be able to qualify for this, and it's going to be a really fun time. So I'm also looking forward to Winter Field Day. And speaking of Winter Field Day, we're going to be discussing that this evening with Marvin and Mike. So I look forward to that. I think we're going to me next, but to stay, we'll be watching for your questions in the chat, and I'll have Hammet and Cannett and an update from Randy and what's his debacle trying to get to Arizona this year. So
you're not kidding. A lot going on, Amanda.
I know it. Whew. I'm already exhausted. Okay, who's next? All right. Well, let's go to Winterfield Day. Hello, gentlemen. We've got Marvin and Mike. And Mike, I didn't get your call sign, so my apologies. But these are 2 board members from Winterfield Day. Marvin's been kind of one of the base board members, right, Marvin? You helped start this with Michael.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where in June of 2022, the prior Winterfield Day board kind of said, hey, they were ready to give it up and retire. And so they put it out on Twitter. It's like, hey, who wants to take over Winterfield Day? I was like, that's not like an interesting thing and fun thing to do. So let's, it's always a good thing to be a part of that. And it's like, well, let's see what we need to do to make that happen. And here we are over 3 years later, running full force. So
you're going crazy with this. So let's just give people some numbers. What was the number of participants the first year you took it over?
I guess I should have had those numbers around the top of my head. I want to say we had right around like 700-800 stations that were registered on our Winterfield Day site for registering your location that first year. Last year we were over 1,200. I think actually close to 13, like 1,350, 1,390 was registered last year. And some quick stats from last year I can give you real quick is I know this is the biggest year we've had so far, was 357,000 QSOs were made last year through Winterfield Day. We had over 26,000 unique different call signs. and we had over 780 different clubs participate. So we've really had those numbers have continued to grow each year. I think prior to that, we were like maybe 260 or somebody. I think we were right around for QSOs. So we almost made 100,000 more QSOs last year than we had in the prior year in 20, and that was in 25. So in 24. So yeah, so it's really growing. It's really took off, and thanks to you guys, we've helped make this a much more of a well-known, established event. We are going into our 19th year this year, and that's from the time Winter Field Day started back in 2007. And so we're really super excited about that. This is no longer just a small little niche event in amateur radio. It's a staple of an event every year that continues to happen. So
Absolutely. Well, you guys have been hard at it. And with that, as your participation grows, you kind of adapt your rules and your bonuses and your multipliers. So why don't you tell us what have you changed for this year?
well, I'm going to run that over to Mike.
Okay.
He's kind of on that. He's helped with my brother Mike W4OPS, and him and Mike have really ran a lot of this. And so I'm going to let him kind of talk a little bit about some of that.
Well, welcome, Mike. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Marvin. And thanks, everyone, for having me. So one big thing we have this year is, in past years, we've had a 6-band multiplier, and that's still in effect, but now we have a 12-band multiplier. So that gives you the opportunity, and we phrase it this way in the rules, was 6 bands too easy? Try 12 on for size. And if you count out all the bands that we allow, we allow all the bands except for 60 plus the work bands, right? And you're getting into the gigahertz range if you want to make all 12 bands. And we've gotten there are some people who are up to the challenge and are dusting off some Arden gear to do 1.2 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. So that's really exciting. We have some smaller changes. We loosened the requirements on the alternative power, where you don't have to run heat and lights on alternative power to get that multiplier, but you do have to run all of your laptops. So it used to be you could run your logging laptops off utility power. Now all your logging laptops, including all your digital mode laptops, have to be on emergency power. Little things like that we've mixed up, and largely though we try to make only little changes each year, just to add a little spice, but not to throw people off too badly.
Hey, Mike, can you bring your boom mic a little bit closer to your mouth a little bit? I wonder if that's
sure.
And tilt it in just a touch. You're flipping in and out. It's kind of weird.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know if that's better. I got a couple other microphone options if we need it.
Oh no, that seemed to be better. I think you just have a really intense.
I think the noise canceling was just didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Perfect. But don't worry, we got it all on audio there. So that's interesting about the alternative power and 12 band. I did not see that on your website. So that is quite the challenge. And what else did you guys add or take away this year?
Didn't we also make a change for some satellites? So we have you can make a QSO on a FM satellite, or you can do a single sideband CW with a satellite. So
yeah, we added the linear satellite objective last year, and this may be the last year that we have satellite objectives. We love satellites, and they're super fun, but
if you, Josh, real quick, I see you're going to the Winter Field Day page. If you scroll up just a little bit to where it is highlighted red right there, it says click here. That will take you right into the rules.
Perfect.
And that will give you some of the information more there. Some of the objectives. I want to say it's closer towards the bottom. There's all the objectives were listed in a row there. And we've gotten up to 33 potential objective number multipliers that you can actually get now. Wow. With Winter Field Day, so you different scoring. So I think you scroll down a little further there. It should have them all kind of listed in a chart per se.
Oh, great!
I haven't seen it yet. So let's see.
Yeah, if we go to the very bottom, you'll see you can actually calculate your own score.
Oh,
there it is.
Look at that! That's super cool.
That's very.
There's all your multipliers.
Yeah, and if you get a different score than you see on our website, let us know, because we're probably the ones who are wrong. we admit that we want to make sure you get the score that you deserve.
I like that 6 continuous hours thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we explain in there that's not constantly making QSOs, but being there and ready, and whether that means having the microphone close by or whatever.
Sure, but set up and ready for operation for 6 solid hours. Got it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
And
So we have to. Last year we had a little bit of a mishap in our scoring because if you take 100 QSOs times 0, because you have no different objective multiplier numbers, you end up with 0. So we had to give everybody at least 1 point for participating. So that way you can make your math work out properly. But we do. We found through our through people submitting the logs that we still see about 50% of our winter field day participants are working from home. So we always continue to try and encourage people to operate away from home. So you see one of the objectives there, operate away from home, and that's a multiplier of 3. So you're going to get a lot more points, overall if you use that multiplier if you're operating away from home, which is should be a kind of a big encourager for people to go do that. So I understand there's some people who can't. They may be disabled. They may have a broken foot, an arm, may be sick. They may there's all kinds of different reasons. But if you're certainly able and capable, we encourage you to go out and try and set something up. Even if you're just sitting in your vehicle for a number of hours operating, you're away from home, you're doing something. You're testing yourself and you're challenging yourself to see what you can do in that type of setup.
I was going to say, or you could just be Amanda and she does not like the cold at all. And home sounds so much more nice than being out. But Colorado has been like super warm this year. So we're having a lot of portable stations or outdoor stations here in Colorado. But that could be part of it is that, the wicked cold. But I've seen some of the winter field day setups and people are crazy with their like tents and putting a stove in it and stuff to be there for the 24 hours. So I love to see those photos.
People definitely get into it quite a bit. Last year, I thought was one of the most impressives was Cody Beer. He lives up in Pennsylvania. I want to say it's like K3BLR or something. I can't remember his full call sign. I know I messed it up just now, but he made about 1,200 QSOs in like 24 hours. And he literally had his Eskimo ice fishing hut out on the lake with a hex beam. Wow. And he stayed out there warm for the full 24 hours and, had a great time at it. And some people, they literally, there's like the Missouri Outdoor Club, Travis, who's one of our board members. Go check out their winter field day sites if you can, or see if you can find them online, Missouri Outdoor Club. They literally take these old army tents, they set them up, they've got stoves set up inside them and whole 9 yards. And they literally make a complete weekend out of this, operating for the full period. And they've got living quarters and tents, and the whole tent for like food and everything else. And it's a big deal to them. So this is a big deal to a lot of people, and they really love getting out in the outdoors and just doing it. And it's a good encourager to get outdoors.
So on that level, someone just said throw a tent in your living room. Yeah, no. So explain the home situation. You can still be at home, but maybe get some extra points for doing something outside in your yard.
So if you can, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So our operate away from home objective requires you to be half a mile from your home, and so that, and it doesn't mean you have to be outside. You can be in an indoor facility, anything like that. But the idea is to get outside, literally get outside your comfort zone.
Very good. And going along with you, the whole reason for Winter Field Day is your portable and emergency communication setups, and can you operate in a quick amount of time? So you also added in there making sure that everyone sends at least one WinLink message to get other additional points, correct?
Absolutely. And so and that's another thing we've changed. We've clarified. It was kind of a thing already, but you can send a WinLink message to a commercial email and get a reply, and that still counts. It doesn't have to be WinLink to WinLink. Wow. You don't get any QSO points for that. That's you're not operating purely on amateur radio that way, but you can do that. So because people are telling us, well, I might send an email to my spouse, and they're going to send an email back, and that's perfectly valid.
So to clarify, though, somebody has to respond back to you for the message to count?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's
Good to
that's a
know.
nice feature of WinLink is when you send an email out to a commercial email address, that email address is automatically whitelisted, so they can reply without the extra steps.
Okay, cool. What else, gentlemen? What else is new or improved?
One big thing we're doing
One
this
thing.
year.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Mike.
We're partnering with an amateur radio club in Ireland, and they've made a special event called Echo India Zero Whiskey Foxtrot Delta for Winter Field Day, and they're broadcasting the Winter Field Day bulletin in Ireland to Europe for us. And so the Winter Field Day bulletin is something we started last year to transmit a short message on. Obviously, you're familiar with it, but to transmit a short message on CW single sideband and some digital mode. Last year we did Olivia. This year we're doing PSK 31, and we chose PSK 31 in part because that was what our Facebook group shows. So we try to get the community involved. But yeah, so the Irish team out there came to us and said, "Hey, look, we really want Europe to be more involved in Winter Field Day." They kind of felt like they were alone a little bit last year, and so they're transmitting the bulletin, getting more people involved, and we've got we actually have one of our board members is giving me the crib sheet on the side. Got a couple of stations in Slovenia and Poland that have signed up, and so hopefully they'll hear the message. But we're really happy to have that partnership with them, and we've also partnered with the Flag and Torch Society. I know Josh had them on his live stream not that long ago, and they're some great stuff. They came to us and asked for an exception to operate multiple locations throughout the country because of the nature of their organization, and we were happy to oblige.
And I am not familiar with the organization, but that sounds like a fun time. What else questions have? Josh, did you see any questions in chat?
A lot of people were commenting on being cold, but I think that everybody should remember you can pack accordingly for what you're dealing with. Marvin, I think you were going to add something. What were you going to say?
It's one of those things that we know that during the winter, it's always challenging for batteries, antennas. That the cold weather batteries don't last as long. Antennas can freeze up, and if it's snow or ice conditions, things like that. Last year, for a quick example, I had part of my mast, the one of the clamps on it snapped. Other things. The cables, the coax gets cold. They don't like to bend and roll out very well. So you can have a lot of challenges through Winter Field Day that you may not experience other times throughout the year. So it's definitely a good time to get out and test some of that equipment and check it as well. We all have generator issues and things like that can happen as well. And so it's definitely a good time to challenge yourself and to see how well you can perform during those times, and what type of test you can put yourself through. And you kind of create yourself an after action report and say, hey, what worked well, what didn't go well. And so you can learn how to better yourself and prepare for next year, and you make that document as something you can keep and refer back to. So when this year comes around, or next year comes around, maybe you can refer to that and go, hey, you know what, I had some issues sending WinLink, or my generator for some reason, my propane froze up, or whatever. How am I going to do something better to change that or fix that? And so those things are definitely good things to look at and consider when you're doing your Winter Field Day setups. The other thing is we have home, indoors, outdoors, and mobile, and we got those 4 categories, and we think we've probably over the last couple of years we've really clarified those quite well to what they mean. But someone came to us this year and asked me about a rail car that is movable, it's on wheels, and whether that becomes indoors or is it mobile. And I think me and Mike may still argue about this a little bit. I called it mobile because it is on wheels, it can move, but I have to agree with him also. It's indoors because it's one of those things that's not necessarily mobile during the event. So but we've always got I guess the leniency on this is if it has wheels and it can move, it's actually mobile. So it's go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, that's my thing is it should be mobile within the 30-hour period, and I usually say that because people have come to us in earnest and say, well, my double wide has wheels on it. And I said, if you can contract the rig and break it down and get it on a low boy in 30 hours, then maybe we can talk.
Very good.
Yeah, but people continue to give us challenges each year with questions like that. That is like, all right, well, what about this? The other thing is something we've had people ask about is, I just completely drew a blank on it. Whatever it was, I was going to say, but we continue. Oh, I know what else is that people continue to give us feedback, and we kind of thrive on that feedback to make changes and for the positive and for the greater good each and every year. And so, if you submit your log and you want to put something in the soapbox comments, you want to send us a help desk email and, submit comments or have questions about something, we do take that. We look at it. We look at each and every one of those comments. And when we try and make changes based on that from year to year. So that feedback is good and positive for us.
And you guys are very interactive online on your social media pages with everybody that participates. So you respond to people that make comments and you correct or you understand their comments, and you also put out polls and things of what do you guys think about. So it's really nice to see that kind of open relationship with everybody instead of just being like, these are the rules, that's it, we're done.
So I will give this real quick and then I'm going to turn it over to Mike because I know he has more information on this, but it's one of those things that I will give him 110%, probably more than that. He probably deserves way more than that, but he's our social media manager on Mastodon, Discord, Facebook, Twitter. He's managing all of our social media, Mike here. And he's done a really great job at it, and he's very engaging. And even on some of the help desk tickets, I was like, I try and get in there, and like, bam, he's already on it 16 minutes ago. It was like I can't even try and get in there hardly. So he does a great job, and he deserves all the credit. And I really want to make sure I acknowledge him for that. Thank him for all that work he's done. He has put a lot of time into this, no doubt.
I got a couple of questions. You want to throw a couple questions at you?
Sure.
Go, Josh.
Let's do it.
Do bounce messages count? And so maybe that's a reference to a satellite or something along those lines. WinLink bounce?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
Now, if it's a moon bounce, then I mean, strictly speaking, I would not consider the moon a repeater. So I think that's technically a simplex concept.
Yeah, that's a good point. John asked if I took my pontoon boat on a lake, would that count as maritime mobile?
I don't see why not.
Well, there you go, John. Drag that sucker out there. JS8 call. That's an acceptable mode of operation, correct?
Not only is it acceptable, it is one of the modes we promote the most. It's one of my favorite modes, and we actually have a link on our socials. We have a link to a guide that I wrote on my club's website, kind of not getting started with a JS8 call, but getting JS8 call and winter field day to play nice together, to include how to modify the logging for JS8 call so that N3FJP actually picks up all the correct fields.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I like that. And I think they're saying JS8 bounce, like a relay message. So if you relayed through JS8 call.
Yeah, so the relay messages to us are really the same thing as a repeater contact. So if you have the kind of the man in the middle, so to speak, then that's something we're allowing now. That said, it could be possible that in future iterations of Winter Field Day, we could look at that, because we've had a lot of good conversations on our Discord about, hey, repeaters are actually valid and useful in emergencies. Why don't you allow them? And we're looking at maybe not allowing repeater contacts at large, but doing some multipliers. So maybe the satellite objectives go away and maybe some repeater objectives come in for next year, but we'll see.
Okay. That's the questions I have, Amanda.
Okay, yeah, my thoughts on repeaters varies wildly. That could be a whole conversation, but I think it has some requirements of running on backup power only, just to test its legs out to see what it can do, those kind of things. But I don't have any other questions. Josh, are you participating this year?
Yeah, I believe so. Assuming that all things work out and I've got the weekend all clear, the W6TRW Club will be going out to a proper cold place. We'll be at a higher elevation. So, yeah, I want to be. Let me just put it that way. I want to be.
You're
I got-
preferring that everybody register on your website that they're going to be operating. Is that correct?
Yeah, we always kind of like to see where everybody's at. I got a couple of things I can make the announcements on here. Is one, like, if everybody goes out and registers, it's kind of nice for maybe a newbie, a new technician, or somebody who's maybe in that area, doesn't belong to a club, that they can certainly reach out and find somebody on the website that will be close to them, that they can go out and visit that Winter Field Day site. I think blue is public and purple is private, but if you scroll down the map further, Josh, on that page, you'll see the field. Nope. Go back to the main page there.
Okay.
Just scroll down,
Hey.
and you'll see the location. Yep, and you kind of zoom in, and it was so congested the first year we did that. So now, as you zoom in, you can kind of see the different numbers, and it really will.
My control button is not working on my keyboard.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Oh,
If
no,
you do-
okay. The
there we
right
go.
side one is working. The left side one is not. So we
So
have a
as you
broken
zoom in, you
key.
can kind of start to see, what might be around you to go visit those, which is really cool. So we'd like to just see how many people are out there actually participating Winter Field Day too.
Yeah.
Kind of gives us a little bit of an idea, which is really nice. It looks like we're over 700 at the moment, so which is good. And we continue. I think we'll continue to see that number continue to increase over the next week or two. Number two is the bulletin. I believe all that's been published out on our social medias now. And so you can go find the information for the Winter Field Day bulletin, the times, the CW, PSK 31 is our mode this year. So if you haven't used PSK 31 yet, go out and get yourself ready to copy the message on that. And we'll also be doing single sideband. So all those different modes will happen in the times. And you should be able to copy Ireland potentially as well. If you're more on the East Coast, you might be able to copy more on the, potentially have some the ability to copy from them as well, depending on how they're doing, because they're operating at full wattage as well. And my third thing is, we haven't really talked about yet, but this year we opened up a store on our Winter Field Day site. It's at the very top, Josh, if you want to go look at that real quick. We have merchandise. So for this year, the very first thing we have done is create a new actually, can you turn yourself around a little bit there, Mike? I think you might have the image here. So this is one of the black shirts, but on the back you can kind of see the new design we have for this year.
I'm loving Vanna over here. This is great.
Exactly. But on the back of the shirt, we have a nice new image for this year for 2026. It says Winter Field Day 2026. And we've got some banners and a little stocking cap or beanie, whatever you want to call it, sweatshirts, glasses. We've got the die cut stickers. The die cut stickers have been really, really popular. I wish I could tell people I'd get those a little bit better pricing, but you really have to do stickers in bulk if you're going to do it. So it makes it a little bit challenging for us on the store of the side of it things. But we're making just a couple bucks on every one of these items. This is our fundraiser. That's how we're generating revenue, besides any just cash donations that are paid through our website. And so we don't really have any sponsor. I say if you want to become a sponsor for $100, give us the donation of $100. We'll put your name on our website under sponsors. But the t-shirts have been very popular. We've been making lots of sales on these. I saw 23 orders just the other day in our production store, and so that was pretty good, I thought. And they're pushing through. So if you're going to order one, I would say try and get it done the next day or two, just simply because you want to get it in time for Winter Field Day, and it does take about 3 to 4 days for production and shipping and whatnot. But the image will change every year from here going forward, and being 2027, it will be our 20th year of Winter Field Day, and we'll have a very special image, along with some things that Mike talked about earlier, some things that will be changing for next year. Will be really big. We're looking forward to our 20th year, and we have a lot of cool things that we want to be able to put in place for next year. That's going to require some additional stations. You might go chase a station that, kind of like a 13 Colonies or a Route 66 event. You might have a Pacific stations for, like, maybe we'll spell the word winter or WFD or something. I don't know what we'll do exactly yet, but we'll have some things like that. We looked at doing maybe a very Pacific slow scan image potentially for celebrating our 20 years of Winter Field Day. So lots of good things are going to be coming out of next year for sure. So I would definitely love to be back on here next year talking about that as we prepare for that. but it's going to be really cool, and it should be really good. But every little bit from the store helps support us a little bit, and kind of keeps our doors open per se, and some of our expenses that we do have that are minimal, but we do have some, unfortunately.
Absolutely, there is some behind the scenes costs. Okay, one other
Yep.
thing it sounds like people want you to address this on our chat. 100 watts maximum, people. No amplifiers during this weekend. Is that correct?
That's correct. Well, I mean, you could use an amplifier if it's a 50-watt amp from a QRP radio, right? I always like to address the edge cases and the technicalities. I think that's the entirety of our visit to Ham Radio 2.0, as we discussed edge cases for an hour. But yeah, it is 100 watts max PEP from the transmitter, and that's I've heard a lot of good arguments in all directions, but the reality is there's a whole lot you can do with 100 watts in most conditions.
Absolutely. They're about to have a contest this week on phone, 100 watts or less. So the North American QSO party. So,
oh yeah,
all right.
But it really kind of keeps the playing field level for everybody. And for those who are getting blown up by 5, 7, 8, 900,000 watts or more of radio signal on the band, when it really becomes very congested, as we know it does during contest weekends or special event weekends. And so it kind of helps out everybody across the board on this. So that's one reason we kind of keep that in place. So
100%. Well, thank you, gents, for being here tonight. And everyone, follow them on their social media accounts, and you'll get up-to-date information. That's the best I can recommend. Okay, Josh, let's go do an Icom commercial.
The season is all about connection, and Icom keeps that spirit shining with amateur radios that deliver clarity, reliability, and reach. Every call travels further, every friendship feels closer, and the airways become a place where the season's warmth never fades. Whether you're catching up with familiar voices or discovering new ones, Icom keeps every signal bright. Happy New Year from Icom. The IC7300 MK2 builds upon everything operators loved about the original IC7300, elevating it to a sharper, cleaner, and more capable HF experience. Its improved RMDR, lower phase noise, enhanced cooling, and expanded I/O options make it the next level performer for serious operators who want crystal clear reception, rock solid transmit quality, and modern conveniences that fit today's operating styles. The result is an HF 50 MHz transceiver that feels familiar yet unmistakably evolved. Improved RMDR and phase noise, lower heat generation and reduced power consumption, HDMI output for external displays, USB Type-C with dual COM ports, built-in CW decoder and audio peak filter, and RX antenna in and out connectors. The ID52A Plus is Icom's most advanced handheld for operators who want powerful digital capability, wideband flexibility, and a modern interface that brings the airways to life. With expanded D-Star performance, an upgraded 2.3-inch color display, enhanced Bluetooth functions, and simultaneous dual-band monitoring, the ID52A Plus delivers a richer, more connected experience wherever you go. It's the next evolution of handheld communications, compact, capable, and unmistakably Icom. Heard it, worked it, logged it. For more information about Icom's amateur radios and to locate a dealer, please visit icomamerica.com/amateur today.
A huge thank you to Icom for sponsoring us here on Ham Nation. We very much appreciate it. Every time we go live, Icom gives away swag packs. And if you want to get in on that sweet, sweet, delicious swag giveaway every time we go live, then take the first link in the video description, click the Enter Now button, and provide some details. Then, at the end of the month, the people who won swag packs, they pick one name at the end of the month when we're live, and they give away a radio. In January, the next episode we do will be an IC V3500 that they're going to be giving away. You can go to the link and you can see all of the radios, all of the Icom radios we're going to be giving away across the year. So yes, if you win in January a swag pack, your name stays in for the rest of the year. Chances are high you might win a radio. Anyway, here are the swag pack winners. Philip H. W1PLH, Damon M. W9MOA, and Todd M. N9 RKY. Congratulations to all the winners, and a big thank you again to Icom. I'm passing it off to Gordo for what he's got going on real soon here, right, Gordo?
All right, yes, and we are getting ready for Winter Field Day a week early with Quartzfest. So let's take a look and see what's happening, not in the cold, but in the sand in Quartzfest. Well, Quartzfest is now almost in its 30 years, and it's held out in the Sonoran Desert here in southern Arizona. And Quartzfest is, well, you park anywhere you want to. If you want to park here or park there, you just go ahead and park it. It begins this Sunday. Folks have already begun parking, and it's all about just having fun and meeting other hams and learning new skills of operating in the open. Because if you look, there's no sewer lines, there's no AC boxes, there's no dump station, just good old sand in Arizona. And that's going to be the excitement of Quartzfest. So Quartzfest is happening this coming Sunday. Well, it's not going to necessarily be this large as when our anniversary took place for Quartzfest, but let me tell you, we get hundreds of ham radio RVers there, and we get also a bunch of radio operators that don't have an RV, and we also get tons of radio operators that are thinking of an RV, so it's a nice way to get started in the mobile route, and also a great way to get prepared for Winterfest. Well, as we see, that's Chris and Lynn. They are the leaders of Quartzfest for many, many years, and they're going to be there to welcome you. And if you look off to the right, you'll see the big bulletin board. And that bulletin board keeps everybody up to date on all of the excitement that's going to be happening to the Quartzfest venue. And every day we start with a warm on 144, 146, make that 146.550. And that gets everybody in the gear as to what's going to happen that day at Quartzfest. Pets are allowed. In fact, we even have a pet parade. So we encourage all of you that if you got a favorite Bowser's, Meowsers, or Housers, bring it because they are welcome at Quartzfest. Just be sure and bring the green baggie to clean up behind them, and they are welcome on board. This is Bureau of Land Management, and they don't have a problem. Well, would you think you could develop voltage out of lemons? Well, this is one of the many instructor tricks that Gary, AA6GJ, and his wife, Debbie, both instructors for the American Radio Relay League and their own local radio clubs. And they want to get more folks involved in teaching ham radio beyond just offering slideshows, but rather moving videos and also live performance for the classes that they teach. And well, take your last look. The old potentiometer, hardly found these days. But there's Gary, and he's ready to help you teach a ham radio class. And we're going to be doing a class seminar for instructors bright and early in the morning because we want more instructors to sign up to the ARRL Registered Instructor Program. And that program offers you a ton of materials at no charge that you can use in your class. And when your class graduates, tons of certificates and all sorts of invitations on where to look up to find your local club. And Amanda, you play an important part in all of clubs to get instructors working with local clubs so we can turn them over to the club to help them program their HT. And most important, beyond
That's right, Gordo.
and most important, just beyond passing the test, get on the air. And upcoming Winter Field Day is going to be their opportunity for getting on the air. At Quartzfest, we have W7Q, and the W7Q station, it might be a makeshift tent like this, or it could be a deluxe setup, but we revolved it around emergency power. And we've got to say thanks to Kevin with BioEnno Power. He has a 100 amp hour battery that generally will run that station open for everyone to operate for 3 or 4 days before we need to put a charge on it. Those lithium iron phosphate batteries are just amazing as to how long they'll go and go. So at Quartzfest, when you go to the setup station, it's not just a little station. Look what we've got happening out there all this week to test out our gear, because weekend after next, that is Winter Field Day, and we want to be ready to go. So we want to say, Ray Novak, thank you, Ray, with Icom America, for all your leadership and getting us involved with your great equipment. And Ray has always been most generous of his time and his great RV himself to show up and say hi. So the best part inside that training station is getting new hams on the air. So important, especially those hams that may take a class on the internet, pass the test, and what do we do now? Well, that's where Winter Field Day operators can embrace them. Here at Quartzfest this coming week, it starts this Sunday, we go ahead and we train them with gear to actually get them on the air. So important. And all the kids coming to Quartzfest, they all have their little stations. And if it's nice and sunny, what it's supposed to be this year, you'll be able to go. And there's Tracy, and he has been to Quartzfest since, a long time. And Tracy and Jody and Tesla have always been there with CW training as well as with the Zelly Craft. And for kids on the weekend, we encourage kids to come and not only swing a little antenna like this, but pick up the International Space Station. And the important part is it's pretty tough to make a two-way contact these days on the space station unless you have kilowatts of power, because of the many other stations transmitting up on the 2 meter side. But we like to show them Doppler shift. And when that space station is coming over, you're going to first hear it about 10 to 15 kilohertz high. Then it's going to go down to 000, and then it's going to go down to 995 and so on. So we like to show them tuning in the space station. And even though they might make a two-way contact, they sure can say, hey, we heard the space station. Some of the seminars are specialized on ham radio operator. We have multiple seminar spots, so seminars are spontaneous and occur at all the same time sometimes, and everyone has a fire ring. Oh, you got to have a fire ring. And of course, the hams like to show up with big, tall antennas, and there's one with a base loading coil that is on 20 and 40 meters, and we like to evaluate that antenna with others that have the traps going up to the tip of the antenna. And we'll talk about that in person at Quartzfest. And Summit's on the air. Oh, yeah. Park's on the air. Oh, yeah. We have a day where both those operations take place. Summit's on the air. You got to do a little bit of walking. But if you look off to the right, you'll be able to see a little summit way in the background that a lot of folks will be hiking up to. And for your sleeping pleasure, you can have either a setup like this attached to your vehicle, or, wow, I like this, just a little tent setup. They probably have a jacuzzi in there, Don, so we can go in there and go for a boosh. But yeah, you never know what's going to be showing up at Quartzfest. And of course, for nighttime operation, we have movies and we have seminars and we have the big screen. And this is a pro screen and a pro projector, because when you have a ton of people coming to Quartzfest, as you can see here during the day, you'll have that same number at night. And you want to make sure that you've got good PA. There's nothing worse than going to a gathering where only the front row hears what the seminar presenter is saying. So I want to thank Gary. And Gary's our ATN, the amateur television operator, who sets up the giant PA speakers, hundreds of watts of output. There's no one else around that we would disturb. And it brings in those hams wandering around going, whoa, what's that I hear? and you'll hear it. So if you, like me, don't hear real well, the big PA systems at each one of the seminar spots are really a welcome addition. And also near the end of Quartzfest, getting ready for Winter Field Day, that's Russ. And Russ takes about 4 days to come on down in his motorhome. And he is going to be able to play you the best hootenanny sounds, but he's not going to play them for you. You're going to join him. So bring a tambourine or drums or whatever. He has a day before to get you warmed up. But it's hootenanny time at Quartzfest. And for RVers, we can learn all about refrigeration and why it doesn't work real well in the RV when we're down 10 degrees on the nose. We have specialists that'll talk about that. American Red Cross is there, and we have a couple of talks on being safe and emergency out on the desert floor. And the Red Cross
truck.
has that wonderful vehicle. That's
a truck.
That's a nice rig right there.
Yeah, you got it. And the wind system, that's the wide internet tie on some of the many repeaters throughout the country has been there in the past, and they always show what it's like to hook up. And of course, there's all sorts of rocks around, and everybody would like to find a great piece of quartz crystal because you're at Quartzfest where quartz crystal hills are all over. So we have a contest this year as to who's going to find the best looking piece of quartz crystal. But maybe there's gold inside. So we're going to have a little gold panning. Oh, look at that. Look carefully. A little bit of gold is in there. Well, I got to say, we may have planted it ahead of time, but it sure gets folks used to using a gold pan to find treasures. All right, there is Steve, WM7X, and he says, if you're ready to take a test anywhere around noon, we're ready for you. And that's Rick, the ARRL Arizona section manager. He also does a great job at cast iron cooking demonstrations. And the Steve WM7X testing session is done all electronic. He's got everything in his red case, make that orange case. And he's got the tablets, and they'll tell you all about, for those that are not testing electronically, how easy it is to work over to the tablets. And he is with the American Radio Relay League, and the tablets come in very important for the students taking the test. And he links it up via Telnet. So it's all happening here at Quartzfest, and that is if you want to take a test and maybe get your call sign the next day for a brand new ham, he's going to make it happen. Every single day testing. Oh, Jerry and Amy. Oh, the kids are always there. This time metal detecting. And what I do is I bury some old ancient coins, a couple silver dollars, and a couple of gold plated coins. And we then send everybody loose. And as you can tell, much like tuning the bands, swinging a metal detector for induction to find coins and little treasures that I bury is always very popular. And that'll be happening at Quartzfest. We'll also have league officials right out of the league's meeting in Newington, Connecticut, going to be visiting. And the ARRL plays such an important part for clubs as well as Winter Field Day, but so important that we get more instructors live teaching ham radio and getting the folks out. That's what was just said. We need to get them outside, get away from watching the scope at home, but in the field. And we're trying very hard to work up more live action instructors with Gary and Debbie and me holding the instructor seminar based on league materials and their materials. And of course, what would be a great way to say goodbye to Quartzfest and a flyaway? And we're going to fly away with APRS. And when we fly away at Quartzfest, as you can see, it's going to go thousands of miles or at least hundreds of miles into the ionosphere. So we hope Quartzfest weather holds up as predicted. We hope to see you at Quartzfest and get you warmed up for Winterfest. And finally, Be thinking about Yuma, Southwestern Division Hamfest, as well as Orlando. And 2 weeks from today, we'll bring you Orlando to see all of the excitement that awaits you in February. But for now, we'll see you at Quartzfest, maybe this coming Saturday or Sunday. Amanda, back to you.
Gordo, you have a very, very fun, fantastic, and safe time, and say hello to everybody that's going to be there. We appreciate you.
Will do.
Okay, now we're going to go to the Amateur Radio Newsline. Don.
Yeah, that is, man, I want to go to Quartzfest so bad. That is on my bucket list. One of these days, hopefully, when I can someday maybe retire, we'll try to do that. I saw at the top of the show in the chat room that somebody asked if I got the prize in the king cake. You know, it is the beginning of carnival season, the beginning of the Mardi Gras season down here. And I did. I got the baby. That's the whole thing. You get the baby in the king cake. And if you get the baby, you got to throw the next king cake party. I think that our king cake was maybe had a little rum in it because the baby is hanging off the flagpole here. I'm not exactly sure what's going. She's mooning me though. I think I can't really tell. But anyway, that's not why you called. Let's go ahead and get to the news of the week and the solar report from Dr. T and Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2515, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. Our top story is of particular interest to drone users. A ban on imports into the U.S. now means that only American-made drones with American-made parts may be sold here.
The import and sales of foreign-made drones and components are now banned in the U.S. following action by the Federal Communications Commission, citing the potential of national security risks. The agency's move follows an executive order from the White House in June banning unmanned aircraft systems and their parts. The executive order, known as Restoring American Aerospace Sovereignty, stated that the move also has the goal of boosting drone manufacture in the U.S. for use here and for export to the global marketplace. The ban is expected to have far-reaching effects on drone sellers as well as their customers. Drones are widely used by first responders, farmers, business owners, and hobbyists. The ban only affects new products that are not already here in the U.S. This is Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
A well-regarded electronics supply business in Connecticut is not closing its doors after the death of its founder last year. Instead, the company is moving.
Quicksilver Radio Products, the popular Connecticut-based business established by John Bartshearer and 1GNV 2 decades ago, is relocating to Pennsylvania as a division of the New Holland Radio Shack. John, who was widely known as John B., became a silent key in October of 2025 while he was hospitalized. The death of the popular and personable radio amateur also drew concerns among loyal longtime customers that his business would permanently close its doors. In a late December announcement that appeared in the QRZ.com forums and on Facebook, the company said it was in the process of moving its inventory to its new location. Quicksilver said that the company also planned to have a presence at Hamcation in Orlando, Florida in February. The business's website, QSradio.com, is also operating again. This is Sel Emby, KB3 TZD.
Do you know any hams who are potential Hall of Famers? Listen up.
Nominations are open now through to the 31st of March for candidates to be nominated for entry to the Heritage CQ Amateur Radio Hall of Fame. Licensed hams and any individuals whose actions have an impact on amateur radio are eligible. The Heritage CQ Amateur Radio Hall of Fame continues the tradition established in 2001 by CQ Magazine, which has ceased publication. Ham Gallery oversees the Hall of Fame and is accepting nominations sent to the attention of Tom Roscoe, KHCX, at khcx@hamgallery.com. A diverse group of licensed amateurs will review the nominations. Please ensure that the words CQ Amateur Radio Hall of Fame appear in your email's subject line. There will be a maximum of 3 inductees. This is Jack Parker, WHISH.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, Sel Emby, KB3TZD, Jack Parker, W8ISH, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
We're in the middle of a series of solar storm glancing blows that are keeping things interesting. And some big flare players that were expected to return, well, they're already grabbing our attention. Those stories and more are in this week's forecast. Space weather this week is giving us a bit of a refreshing surprise. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, we have been dealing with the coronal holes. You can see like big finger-like coronal holes right here. A couple days ago, it was giving us some fast solar wind from this end right here. And now this part of it is rotated in through the Earth strike zone. And it's going to be giving us some fast solar wind over the next day or so. But notice that the coronal hole isn't the only thing we're dealing with. Region 4334 has been sandwiched in between these two fast solar wind streams, and it's got a very interesting configuration. In fact, if I back it up just a little bit so you can see the magnetic field lines a bit better, notice it looks like there's all these coronal arcades here, kind of loops that sit above and kind of flip all the way around, almost as if they're encircling this region, almost like a flower. That kind of configuration magnetically makes for some very interesting solar storm launches, because what it does is it causes things to launch all the way around this loop. And that's exactly what we start seeing here over the last few days. In fact, we started seeing launches of small solar flares and solar storms from this region right about the 5th, but right about when we got to the 8th, that's when things started getting interesting. So as we take a look here on the 8th, you'll see, boom, right there, there's a little bit of a solar storm launch. You can see kind of the dimming region in here like this. That evacuated the southern portion of it, and up here in the west, you can watch it there. But notice in the north, you also get a bit of evacuation. So we're getting kind of like a C-shaped thing going on all the way around this region. And then it still wasn't done. A few moments later, boom, you can see another evacuation here in the northwest. So we had like kind of a three-part structure coming at us, and that's what's been giving us the bumpy ride thus far. As we take a look at this in our kind of our flat view, it gives you a little bit of better feel for it. You can see this big filament right here. This is just below that region. Here's the region right in here, and you've got this magnetic configuration circling all the way around it. Well, it was really this region that kind of destabilized in this filament. You can see it right here. It actually gained a bit of material from, believe it or not, a far side blast, which destabilized a whole bunch of other stuff, including this really teeny tiny filament you see way here in the background. But that fed some material over here. That destabilized this. This whole thing goes, as you can see, whoosh, just like that. There it goes. Plus, you get a dimming region up here. This is actually in the northern part of the section. When you lay it flat like this, it looks a little confusing. But this is the moving down to the south part of the sun, and this is right up in the near the equator. It's pretty funny when you look at it this way. But you can see the dimming region quite extensively, and then you can get that third part. Boom, right there. You can see yet more dimming here now on this side. So you had a three-part launch, and it made it very interesting because it was all kind of circulating around region 4334. And that kind of magnetic complexity always leads to very interesting storm impacts. Now, as we take a look at our coronagraphs, you can see here was an earlier launch that went to pretty much to the south of Earth, but that gave us a bit of a bumpy ride when we got that fast solar wind. Then we had a massive far side blast. You see this? We had a full halo all the way around the sun. You can see it here. This is from old region 4321, which we'll be talking about shortly. But this is the blast that kind of destabilized some filament material that then leaked into that filament that ended up launching on the front side. Funny how things get connected like that. But that blast, and then we started seeing the big solar storm launches from this region. Sadly, most of these solar storm launches weren't really all full halos or even all that strong. So we weren't expecting that much, but we have managed to get bumped up to G2 levels from the storms from this region as they've been hitting us back to back to back. So what are we expecting now? Well, as we continue on, you can see this big, almost like boomerang shaped coronal hole. We're going to be seeing another one of these in the south as in about another week or so. We'll see it rotate into Earth view. It's this kind of almost like a mirror configuration just on the southern edge of the sun instead of the northern hemisphere. But as we take a look, we can see we're getting a little bit of activity from region 43, 36, and 39. These regions have been firing off little bits and pieces of solar storm launches here. You can see a little bit right here, as a matter of fact. Boom. And that also has to do with the fact that they're right next to coronal holes, and so the magnetic configurations get a bit complicated. We're going to see that on the far side too. But outside of that, really, this is about all we're going to get from the front side, but that's not the only story. As we take a look to the east limb, I'm going to actually blow up the brightness here in the SUVI field of view so that you can actually see some of the corona really brightly. And keep your eyes right here and here, because what we're seeing is old region 4321, 4312, and 4317 that are going to be rotating back into Earth view here over the next couple days. And you can watch these loops. Do you see these loops here already kind of showing some serious brightness? Well, that's because this whole set right here, if you're good at looking at magnetic field lines from this field line model here, you can see that this is actually a bit of a streamer. Okay, we've got a lot of open magnetic field here. We've also got some coronal holes in here and open field lines that show that we're getting fast solar wind coming out of this. But we also have these stressed, really stressed coronal field lines right next to these two regions, and you'll watch them get very, very bright. Watch this right here. See how bright they're getting? And that is really becoming, the reason why is because we're getting a lot of evacuation of material out here. And we have another loop out like this. And watch this thing take off pretty quickly, as well as take some of this material with it as this thing fires right here. Boom, right there. That was region 4321. It's going to be renumbered, so expect it to get a new designation here probably over the next 48 hours. This was an M3.38 class flare, so not quite an R2 level radio blackout, and it's occulted, meaning that it's partially blocked behind the sun's limb, which means this flare was even bigger than that. Easily an R2 level radio blackout, might have even been an X class flare, kind of hard to tell, but this was really intense when you look at it in coronagraphs. There's a lot of dense material, and what that tells us is that we still have not only did it evacuate quite a bit of material, but because it left some of these loops behind, as you can see here, not all the material is gone. So that means there are still bullets in the gun, and that means that we can get more solar storm launches from this region as it continues to rotate into Earth view. So expect the risk for radio blackouts to really start rising. Expect the chances for big solar storms to also be on the rise, and these regions should be rotating into the Earth strike zone here in about 4 to 5 days, so keep your eyes on the sun. And now taking a closer look at that actual region, 4321, like we take a look at our full sun map. This is being made by SDO AIA on the front side of the sun. We got a little bit of stereo A imagery on the far side, and then also JSOC HMI helioseismology far-sighted viewer using sounding methods to be able to get what we can't see, because we only have, as you can see from Earth here, we've got Earth looking straight at the sun, and stereo is looking at the sun partially from the side, but there still is a bit of the sun that we can't see because sadly solar orbiter is still on the front side of the sun with us, and that's going to keep us blind to some degree for the far side. So as I put this full sun map into motion, let's get you calibrated here. You can see old regions 4332 and 4331. There's 4334 finally popping into view. We also, so I'm going to back it up a little bit because I, believe it or not, back early on the early in turning the year, stereo A was still watching region 4321 beginning to kind of really grow. Didn't see it make a lot of splash, but there it is right there on the far side. Through the sounding imagery, you can see it's quite intense, and region 4317 is also quite intense. So this is the region here, but you're also seeing growth here in region 4312. So those are the three main players that have been coming into, that have been coming into the fore. Right about here is when we got that big far side blast, and it was slightly south of center disk and southwest of center disk, so we know that it was region 4321, and it makes sense as we're beginning to see that region rotate back into Earth view. So expect this kind of triad of players here over this next week or two to give us a lot more activity, a lot bigger chances for big radio blackouts at the R2, possibly even R3 level. And of course, lots of solar storms will be in our future over the next couple weeks. And now as we switch to our solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week, wow, what a difference a day makes, huh? Take a look at how the noise is going to be changing on the dayside radio bands. We are sitting at about, right now, about 115, but we're probably going to be jumping very, very quickly up to possibly the 150s as far as solar flux is concerned. We've got minor noise on the bands. I'm giving us about a 25% chance of M-class flares. This is at the R1 to R2 level radio blackout, and about a 5% chance of X-class flares, but expect us to jump up to moderate noise by the end of the week, and possibly as much as a 40 or even 50% chance of R1 to R2 level radio blackouts, and a 10% chance of X-class flares. This is at an R3 level radio blackout. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, get ready. The noise is getting big on the dayside radio bands, and it's likely going to be with us for the next couple weeks. So the space weather this week is keeping things interesting. We're in the middle of some solar storms that are passing through. Aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, you could definitely continue to get some shows over the next couple days. But aurora photographers at mid latitudes, well, things are beginning to wane a little bit. So if you can chase those substorms, that'll ensure that you can get some decent aurora views. Now, amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, things have been pretty quiet for you for a while, but that is changing. All the radio noise on the dayside radio bands is going to continue to creep up over the rest of this week, and expect to get radio blackouts at R2, possibly even R3 levels over the next couple weeks. So just kind of hunker down and deal with it, and things will get better, I promise. And now GPS users, well, things aren't looking too great for you either. We've got a lot of scintillation on the night side because of the solar storms passing through, and that causes issues with GPS reception. And now also on the day side, we're getting the radio blackout starting to creep up. So if you're anywhere near aurora, or if you're anywhere near dawn and dusk, be sure to stay vigilant, and your GPS reception should be okay. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
And another excellent report from the Newsline crew. Thanks to them. And of course, Dr. Tamitha Skov. We're so fortunate to have her on our team. You really are doing yourself a disservice if you don't follow her on X at Tamitha Skov. Also, you can see the full unedited versions of her reports, because I do have to cut some things out for time and for content, at her YouTube channel, of course, Tamitha Skov, and also spaceweatherwoman.com. So good stuff. I learned something every single time I watch one of her videos or speak to her. She's an amazing resource, and we're so happy to have her. Happy to have K1DD in as well. The Manda, not Amanda, the Manda, and our Manda. And now it's time for Hammet, Can It, and or What Am It? Damn it.
Praise you. Thank you.
Thank
I don't
you,
even know what to say about that.
Well,
Ooh, what do you need?
Everything.
I'm kidding. Okay,
I got my king cake baby. I think I'm doing just fine. She's still on the pole, still hanging in there.
She's working it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been busy this week, so I don't have a great Hammer or Can It, but I have some that are very worthy of discussion. We're going to talk. I'm sharing my screen now. So the first thing, this is a should they call Aries? Okay.
No.
Could we handle the bandwidth, Amanda? I don't think so. Not of a cell phone.
No. Could you? No, because
the users.
People, I'm looking at my chat room over here. Chat room, I am willing to hear you out on how you think we're going to help, or what our ham radio is going to do when we have a cell phone outage, such as the one that Verizon had today. I'm not sure that we would be of any stability or real help. And I think that there's, according to, I think it was Marvin, or maybe it was Mike who was on earlier, said that they're still down. Their roommate is still down without it. Now, it didn't reach all the way to Colorado, I do not believe.
No, it was sporadic around the country. It was various spots around the country.
Yeah. So here's some, I'm just going to point out one. I saw numerous of these on X, but you guys, what are you going to do? Some customers tried nationwide outage. I'm super glad I have my ham radio for times like this. I think you're just saying that, and it's no problem. Be really happy that you have your amateur radio license and that you have an alternative method of communication. But if 1 million more people, 2 million more people had their amateur radio license, still, what would happen?
But see, listen, Here's the limitation of amateur radio versus your cell phone. You can't watch TikTok on your radio.
You can't send your email. I mean, well, you could if you go through WinLink and you have your stored email addresses and things like
TikTok
that.
don't work on a ham radio. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure that
SOL.
this is going to be no service.
Amanda, I got it. Here's the answer. I got it for you.
Well, ham for food.
So that's what we'll be doing.
But what if this goes on another? Let's say it was two big companies. Why don't we say whose noise am I hearing first of all?
Yeah, somebody's got a loud mic. If you can mute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's say it's two companies. Let's say it's AT&T and Verizon, and then people are really panicking, and even your emergency services are starting to go, "Uh-oh, what are we going to do?" At that point in time, you actually want to go to your home and take down your antennas because anybody in your neighborhood is going to start knocking on your door. And they're going to be like, what's going on? I can't talk to anybody. I'm not seeing any news feeds. So, I mean, it's a blessing to have your license, but, and anyone else chime in. Marvin, what do you think?
Yeah, let's go to the guess.
Absolutely. I think it's, possible. My neighbors have always kind of joked is like, well, if, when it, crap hits the fan and we can't get on the air, or talk to anybody else, we're going to come to your house. So,
yeah. I don't know that I want all of my neighbors coming to my house, but thank you. And Josh, what do you say?
I mean, I'm a big fan of WinLink, right? So if Verizon's down and that's your email box, right, or whatever, AT&T, all the services had outages. Yeah, I could still email, right? And people with WinLink can email back. Obviously, if it's to a private address and they have internet, like at home to my wife, well, I may not be able to call her, but I can email her. Right.
And I'm seeing Mesh Tactic is being brought up in the chat.
There you go.
Very good.
That's it. Yeah.
Jeff has been working on that. Like, how can, if there is an SHTF, is that, situation, can I send a quick message that I would be able to receive? And sure, as long as it's not something that takes out my cell phone as well. Okay. So speaking of catastrophes, poor Randy.
Randy.
My gosh, this guy.
Oh no.
He's all happy driving to Quartzfest, stopping to see buddies, and boom, all of a sudden someone's like or I don't think Randy's in the chat. He has a better story about this, but somebody's like waving him down and telling him to pull over, and he finally pulls over and they're like, you're on fire. And come to find out, his bearing like seized up and got super hot, and he did have a little bit of a fire. So Randy, we're really sorry about that, buddy.
Yeah.
And look at that firefighter in there, just making sure everything's good to go. And Randy doesn't let that get him down though. So he's renting a camper and taking it still to Quartzfest. Good on you.
Good.
This is his picture.
Look at that.
Truck is like full to the max. He
Everything.
like cleaned out every single thing in his camper and in his trailer, and it's all in the back of his truck and Randy says, I'm in Tucson now. Well, that's good, Randy. I'm glad. So you're practically there by now.
Yeah. Good
deal. And I'm glad it didn't let you get you down, but hopefully, I don't know how long it takes to get campers repaired at Camping World, but I've heard
that's a pretty simple job. Just if it's just a wheel bearing.
So it's a bit more than that because of the fire. Like the whole axle has to be replaced and stuff. But,
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So depending on if they have to wait for parts and stuff like that. So
it would be perfect. It would be perfect if when Quartzfest is ending and he's returning the camper, he just drops it off and then picks up his camper. All done. There you go. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we hope for.
Randy, we're sending you good vibes.
Yes.
Good vibes.
Yep.
Okay.
Making the best of a bad situation.
In the meantime, be safe the rest of your way there and have a blast. Okay. Hamnet. Anyone?
I heard about this.
It is not ham radio related. Do not fool yourselves. Anyhow, evidently it won some Golden Globes or something, and I didn't know
Golden
much
Gloves.
About it, so.
They were boxing.
Globes.
Oh, Globes.
No, Globes. Golden Globes.
They got that.
Pay attention, Josh.
They're just boxing.
You ever seen this show?
Yeah.
Boy. Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of like doomsday tweets. First of all, it all started with Verizon, but okay. So this is serious, but kind of joking around too. Emergency action messages alert, ham radio monitoring World War III tensions and Iran crisis on Icom. Well, it's great that you got your Icom out and you're listening, but please stop scaring people. Just, but on all seriousness, if there is something to listen to, make sure it's verified communications before you put it on things like X, and make sure it's not just an exercise. I mean, I'm seeing the frequency of 8992, which obviously Icoms will listen in that band, and a lot of our radios will listen on that band, but just be careful what you might like record and put out there on social media, because we don't know what's going on. Make sure you get a news report that verifies that the information you're hearing on other bands is correct.
But
So-
also, may I ask, what message are they actually getting? I'm looking at that.
I
image
don't
and
know.
I'm not seeing
That's the other thing. I was
anything.
very like, what are you hearing?
There was
What's
an
going on?
emergency action message. It was up in the 15 megahertz, I believe, is whatever their aviation frequency is up there. They were passing some traffic, and I think I saw somewhere that the entire airspace over Iran had been shut down. I watched on Flight Radar 24 today that there was only like 1 or 2 airplanes flying, and they were military in the Iranian airspace, and all the commercial traffic was going around. So there's something going on over there. I'm not sure what it is, but
100%.
again, if you're passing something along like this guy is, and you're saying World War III tensions and Iran crisis, you are feeding the flames of crap. Don't do that. Just
Be
pay
careful.
attention and listen before you start spreading stuff around, because that is a good way to fire up a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be fired up.
And another PSA on that matter, if you are hearing something on any ham frequency that is a possible message from a country like Iran, or you suppose that it's from Iran, I would not respond.
Oh,
right. No, absolutely not. Well, the one that in question that I'm speaking about was on 15 megahertz, and that it's a known military frequency. So that was not on a ham band. That was a known EAS emergency action message frequency that
Amanda,
the military does use. So.
Amanda,
Yes.
are you saying don't self-deploy as hams to Iran
Yes,
right
please
now?
do not be an
Probably not a good idea.
international,
Okay. Thank you for
agents
telling me.
of America or any other country for that matter. Just absorb all the information, but please don't spread the flames. As and Brett said something interesting in the chat. Let me go back. Well, be careful about believing anything you see on Twitter. Yeah, well, yes, of course.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
he says Iran's internet is shut down, so I do wonder if folks are using ham radio to communicate with the outside world. They very well could be, but I have a feeling that mostly they're not trying to talk to the outside world, that they're trying to, and this is completely political speculation. So I am not a CNN commentator, but I would assume that they're using that maybe to talk with each other in their protests and to assimilate that way. So radio is probably in action. And again, probably don't rebroadcast it if you happen to pick something up.
No.
Okay. So, and again, in Doomsday, someone else, could ham radio help Taiwan survive wartime internet outage? And these people are freaking me out now, because more and more people are talking about all these wars. And I'm like, first of all,
internet outage? No. No. Communication needs, maybe, depending on what that is, but
so I don't know if it was kind of like referencing, like, what if they do the same thing to Taiwan that they're doing in Iran, where they're turning off all the internet? Well, again, I think there's easier access to airdrop some Starlinks in there, and they'll still have some access to some things. But again, if anyone's thinking about amateur radio in any kind of wartime action or any political international thing, don't do it. Just don't. Just a PSA again. Please don't do it. Okay. So that's enough Doomsday.
Okay.
So
Okay, good.
Now we have a fun question. This is just like these are things you see online all the time. My community, what is the best low-cost ham radio setup that I could buy for a replacement for my main HF radio? I want something with at least 100 watts max output. I want something that preferably has an internal tuner. Bro, you didn't tell us what your old rig was. We don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Or what the budget is. I know they said low cost, but
Right.
that means a lot to a lot of people.
100%. So are we talking Zygo G90? Or are we talking
well, they said 100 watts.
700. So. Oh, that's right. So I mean, this is a variable. So with the question at hand, I wouldn't have a complete answer, and I would start rambling like I am right now.
That's right. So we do.
And it's like, well, what are your HF actions? Like, are you an FT8er, your phone, CW, all the above, contester? I just don't know how to recommend. But my first recommendation to anyone all the time is, well, all around rig 7,300. Just boom, you'll be happy no matter what.
He mentions low cost ham radio, and it's one of those things that it's just coming around that time of year where we're going to start doing Hamfest again. And you can pick up some very, very, very nice rigs and great rigs that are in great shape that have been sometimes hardly used at a third of the, call it the depreciation value taken right off the top, and you can, especially you get towards the end of the Hamfest, it's like, I don't want to really carry this thing home, give me an offer. And some people pick you up on some really, really good deals once in a while. So,
and even if what you find doesn't have an internal tuner like this guy wants, come to me real quick, Josh. I paid $10 for this last year at a Hamfest. Okay, $10, and that will handle 100 watts. So little guy runs off 12 volt. Yeah, exactly. So yep, keep 100%. Your eyes open and your mind open.
So non-weaponized, prepare something or other. Those are our answers for you. Anybody else want to answer them? Go on. Were they on Blue Sky or Twitter? Oh, X. They were on X. So go find them on X, and maybe you can give them an answer or two.
Point them in the right direction.
There you go.
Or a direction.
I answered the best I could with the information I had. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing was we missed Learn Your Name in Morse Code Day, which was January 11th. So, and this is a missed opportunity. Look at this here on the bottom. Want to sponsor Learn Your Name in Morse Code Day? ARRL, knock, knock, knock. Hello. Sponsor the day.
How does one sponsor a day?
I don't. Well, it's through the National Day calendar. They have their website, and but I would think that would be interesting that you could actually sponsor the Learn Your Name in Morse Code Day. That's very cool. Okay, one more thing, and this is to talk about all of the stuff that's going on the air through the ARRL and everywhere else. So ARRL has their W1AW stations on, and they're celebrating America 250. So I'm just going to clarify to people about this, about all the different ways you can earn your WAS and the special endorsements you can get on it. So first thing is they have a special certificate for just working 50 states, all 50 states. It doesn't have to be a special call or anything like that. So any Joe Blow that you put in the logs, all 50 of the states, you get, boom, your special certificate, your America 250. Now, you can get endorsements on that by working all 50 of the W1AW stroke portable stations. So like last week, Nebraska and New York were on, and hopefully you got them in your logs, but you get another chance because everyone's on twice this year. So this week is like South Carolina and some others that I can't remember off the top of my head. I think maybe West Virginia. But anyhow, so you have the opportunity to get an endorsement for all the W1AWs. Then you can get an endorsement for working 50 affiliated clubs. So this last weekend, I was on as our club call sign to hand out an affiliated club contact to anybody that might be searching or didn't know that they should be searching. You should be searching. Look for those club calls, and Winter Field Day is going to be your hookup. So a lot of clubs are going to be on during Winter Field Day. Start collecting all of those clubs, even if you're not going to be super into Winter Field Day. If you want the special endorsement, it is the weekend other than Field Day to get those club calls and get your 50 states. So you get that special endorsement. And then your final endorsement is a triple play. And that, again, is just any 50 states that you work. It could be a W1AW or it could just be a normal call sign, but all of those combined will get you a triple play endorsement. So,
hey, Amanda, Randy is in the chat right now telling us that W1AW/4 is on FT8 right now on several bands. So
South Carolina,
what an apropos comment. Yeah.
Yep. So you get your South Carolina and then you'll get the W1AW South Carolina all in one. So definitely be working them and to listen for those clubs as well. So, okay. That's all I have for tonight.
Wonderful.
Oh my gosh, that's enough. That was plenty. I liked it.
Packed.
I know. And listen for us Colorado clubs because we're having our own competition here in Colorado. So Okay, let's announce the nets. We have D-Stars happening on 14 Charlie, and they're saying, where are you all? Come join us. And I don't know if 40 meter has been picked up yet or not. I have not seen an announcement on that, but stay tuned. So then join us in 2 weeks, which will be January 28th, right? 14
Yes.
days.
And that will
Yep.
be
So,
our radio giveaway from Icom. So make sure you tune
all
in
right.
live.
I don't know what our topic's going to be, but we'll find out. So thanks everyone
We'll
for
do
being here
something.
tonight. Thank you for the
Even if
Winter
it's
Field Day, guys.
wrong.
All right. Thank you to the Winter Field Day guys for joining us tonight and clarifying some of their new roles and such. And I hope everyone is on the air for that in 2 weeks as well. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. And
And
Hammond
thank you,
Hamfest,
Josh.
Louisiana this weekend. If you're up in Hammond, come say hi. I'll
All
be
right.
walking around.
Very
And
good.
Randy, be sure and make it to Quartzfest in one piece because we want to see your demos because we've
It
all
sounds like
waiting to
he's
see them.
committed. He's
He's on
going.
his
He
way,
is
yeah.
committed.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, thank
Drive
you, everybody.
safely.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. We very much appreciate you. And a hearty 7 threes. Have a great time on radio the rest of this week.
7-3.
Good night.